Barrett, thank you very much for being with us. We're delighted to have you, and I know some of the audience, especially in Arkansas, may be familiar with your story about what you and your wife are doing, but as we say hello to you, I'd like you to share it with us and talk about what you've encountered.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, and I appreciate it. So for those of you who don't know our story, my wife and I had a child, our first son, Hudson, and during the childbirth, he experienced a traumatic birth incident. My wife was diagnosed with preeclampsia and HELLP syndrome, and so in turn, my son was born hypoxic without oxygen and had to be revived. And during that time, he suffered a brain injury and suffered from severe cerebral palsy amongst other medical issues. And you know, I'll be honest, it's kind of a traumatic experience that can make your family or break it. And my wife and I, from day one, just had a conversation amongst each other. We're going to make the best out of it, and we're going to turn it into a positive. And we've kind of used that as a platform and campaign to honor our son and his legacy and try to do some positive in our community.
And Barrett, I'm certainly no expert, but I know enough about stories, and I would think that among the most difficult thing any young couple could go through would be similar to what you've encountered, and sadly and double tragically, it really makes a lot of couples have doubts and difficult times ahead, and too often they don't make it. Why were you different? Or what pushed both of you toward making this not a positive? Because it's hard to celebrate something like this. Although in a way you are honoring him.
Yeah, I'll be honest. A lot of us, my wife, she's been the driving force, and she's a rock, and she's very determined, and that's just kind of the path we wanted to take. I've been with my wife since high school sweethearts, and you know, we've been able to, I wouldn't say it's a positive experience, but Hudson, without a doubt, changed us. He taught us what it means to be selfless and unconditional love, and I know that we are better parents and better spouses, and I'm a better coach for it. And we want to be able to use his name and actually make people aware of, you know, there are people out there with special needs children that could use help, or just somebody just to be nice and help put a smile on their face and do some positive.
It seems like the most basic thing in the world, but a lot of us never think about it, though, do we?
Right. You know, I mean, I'll be honest, I was guilty of it too. It's just not being aware of. It's very easy to go through your everyday routine and focus on your life and almost the afterthought of the people that are really having some struggles that could use some help.
In terms of what you've heard back, and I would imagine you've heard a lot, share with us some of the stories about other young people like you who have gone through extremely difficult things.
You know, I've had people reach out to me and my wife via social media, and it's very heartwarming or inspirational to read their stories. And as we were going through everything we went through Hudson, our story was followed by some of these couples, and they told us how we are inspiration for them and gave them the strength and courage to face their challenges. And that part of it is it's very humbling, and just to be able to think that we could help make a difference and help some families too.
I'm interested in something else you said. Obviously a sports show here. You said it helped make you a better coach.
Yes.
How was that?
Well, look, I coach golf, obviously, and that's the sport we coach, and that's important results. But I think as a better coach, I mean more maybe from a personal standpoint, and being able to help some of these young men develop and be aware, and just be conscious of their vocabulary, be conscious of their actions, and just help them grow into a mature and become a man.
In terms of being kind, I know that's a big ocean of things to do, from smiling at somebody to saying their name to, and I'm the worst person in the world. I kind of walk around sometimes in a daze. But help all of us, especially me, as I listen to you, give us some ideas about things that we can do better, because I think these are really small things, Coach, that we're missing on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I'll tell you kind of my experience with doing the happies is what we call them. It's basically a pay it forward principle. One of my favorite things to do is we dropped off food to the fire department last night and just thanked them for their service, and dropped food off at the police department and thanked them for their service. And I'll be honest, some of those people they don't get that a lot, and they get overlooked. And just letting other people know that, hey, you are valued and we appreciate everything that you do for us. One of my personal favorites is writing a thank you letter to somebody that impacted me maybe in high school, whether it be a teacher or coach, and letting them know, because sometimes they don't know how they impacted you. And just to be able to pass that message along and make them have a sense of, feel excited about what they do, and know that they are valued, it's a good experience.
Yeah, I think, and you made me think about some things that most people, I mean, when somebody helps somebody, does something for somebody, they don't do it to be rewarded or to get a response. But too often, I think we do things for other people, and we never hear anything about it, do we?
That can be the case sometimes, yes. I think that the happy and paying it forward, it's not about just doing, but it's just making the world better and having a positive impact on some people, and in turn, hopefully they turn around and do the same thing.
I want to ask you about your wife in this, because you've given her a lot of credit, which is it's really cool on any level. But it is Valentine's Day, and I think a lot of people are on this one day try to come up with things that maybe they wouldn't normally do. Talk about her and what makes her so special, and how she has made this happen.
Well, I really don't even know where to start, Paul. Besides, I want to be able to go home and sleep too. So, look, Jessica has been from day one as a mother. That's been the most important thing for her, and she's always had a lot of strength, and we saw that in our son. And her goal was to give Hudson the best life he could, and we're going to make our challenges, we're going to make the best out of them. And she is really kind of, it all came along as after Hudson passed away, and his first birthday after he passed away came up. It was a day that we started to kind of dread, and my wife just looked at me and was like, we can't do this every year. We need to make this a day that we look forward to and celebrate Hudson. And that's how she came along with the Happies, and that evolved into doing a lot of work for Make-A-Wish and the Walk for Wishes, and we sponsor a team, Strong Like Hudson, every year, which has grown, and our goal has been to grant one wish per year, and so far this will be our 4th year, and we've already granted 4.
Well, I know that what you and Jessica have done have inspired a lot of people watching and listening today. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and we certainly wish you all the best.
Paul, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Thanks for having me.